Welcome to Berkeley College. My name's Dr. Harsty, and I'm going to take you through how to best use your Canvas course. So the first thing we're going to look at here is when you log into Canvas, you're going to start here at your dashboard. The thing I want you to know is there's different views for the dashboard. I'm going to recommend you keep this, but let me show you the other views. So if you go up here to what I call the mouse droppings, these three buttons, you have card view, list view, recent activity, and color overlay. Now, if you look at recent activity, it's just going to give you some announcements. I don't think that gives you as much information as you actually need, but it does give your to-do list and your announcements. If you go to list view, it'll list out your announcements, but it doesn't really take you into your courses or show you really what's going on. Also realize this only shows you what's due today. Many of your classes, especially your online classes, will have everything due at the end of the week, so it'll make it look like you don't have anything to do, and you do have a lot of things to do. So if we go back here to dashboard, you can see each tile, which these are called, will be each of your courses. You can see your to-do list off to the side, and you can get an idea of what's coming up in the future. You can move these, you can change them around. You can go to these, again, another mouse dropping, and you can change the color if you want, or give it a nickname if that makes it easier for you. These are also movable, so you can drag and drop. When you first start here at Berkeley College, you're going to have a couple things that you need to access, but then you don't need to access again, like your Title IX training, which you can then move to get out of the way, or this great course called Be Ready, which you should have done already, but if you haven't, it's going to be here as one of your resources. But I recommend you take these and you just simply drag and drop them down to where you want them to be. So that's an important thing about your dashboard. That's your landing spot. That's where you're going to be. This will also be on your phone. Again, I recommend using tiles on there. And on your phone, you'll have these mouse droppings, which will give you an option of show my grade. So right on your phone, you can see what your grades are at all times. I recommend you use that. Phones aren't great for everything, but they're good for checking your grades. Now, what are some of the other things we can look at? Go over here to account. And as you see, I've got a picture on there. I advise you to all take time to go to your profile right here and set up your profile. Put a picture in there. I know a lot of people want to put a picture that's fun, but make sure it's a picture of you. Your professors will use this to remember who you are. So you can edit your profile picture, drag and drop one there, and you can edit your profile to add some information about yourself, including choosing your pronouns, if that's something that's important to you. I'm also going to recommend you at some point to go to this notifications. This will allow you to choose what notifications you want to get on a daily basis and where you want them to go. You can set them for your account by using the account level, or you can set them from a specific course. But there are some things you want to see, and understanding these icons matters. So if you click on any of these different options like email, this says I get a weekly summary, so you can get emails about due dates, notify immediately, a daily summary, a weekly summary, or you can turn those off. Don't turn off your due dates, but you can say you maybe just want to be notified once a day. I know which of the students actually have this grading option on, where it'll actually send you an email the second I grade, because I've moved on to the next student and you're already asking about your grade. So you might want to turn those grading announcements on too. I also do recommend that you add on submission comments. If I make any comments in your gradebook, you're going to get those right away. So go through and figure out which of these things you want to have. You can always come back and change them, but again, I'm sure that you want to get some of those alerts. You can also, when you go to your profile on your settings, you can add a cell phone if you want, so that you can have things go directly to your phone. So you can go that with these settings and go to other contacts, add your phone. You'll have to agree to receive messages, but you can get those messages sent directly to your phone. So that's the one great thing in what we call our global navigation. This is again taking you back to your dashboard. That's where we started, so you remember that. This is, you can go to courses and you can look at just the courses, so going course to course. We also do have calendar. Now I'm going to bop to the calendar in a different way to make sure it's open. This is a calendar of all the different things you need to do. One of the things I really like about Canvas is when you finish things, it crosses out that assignment. I love getting things crossed out. But in some cases, and just a pro tip, if you post once to a discussion board, it will cross it out. But that doesn't mean you're done. You might need to go back and do some replies to classmates. But this is a good way to actually go through and see what important things you have to do. It also conveniently color codes them the same way you have the color codes for each class. There are 3 different views: a week, a month, or an agenda. You can take a look and see which one you like. I think month works best because if you look at those other ones, it somehow the week one can put everything all the way at the end of the day and be a little bit confusing. But take some time to see how important your calendar is. You can also use this button to add new events. So if you have a class where the instructor didn't post the assignment in Canvas, but you want to put it in there, you can put that in there. Also, I recommend going through, if you have a big paper, maybe at the beginning of the week, put in a little note in there that says start working on your paper. So that's where you can actually really use this to keep track of all of your assignments. This little star will take you to our Engage portal. I'm not going to go through the Engage portal today, but that's going to give us some information about do you owe money. It's going to give you links to all the different forms you need, so keep that in mind. And we also do have a history where we'll tell you what's going on recently, and this Canvas Studio, which we'll include in another video. The one thing that I did skip is your inbox. Make sure that's your email. Make sure you're going to your inbox and checking your messages daily. You can also go there and send messages to everyone. Even if you forget people, you can go to a class and you can say which class, it'll tell you which course, and you can send it to teachers, teaching assistants, or students. So you can communicate with your classmates, or you can communicate with your professor without even remembering what their name is. Again, make sure you use that. Now we're going to dive into a course. So we've gone through that dashboard and we clicked on one of those tiles. You're going to see some important things here. Some of your classes, you'll see the recent announcements right here on top, so you don't need to go into announcements. I also recommend, at least on the first day, you check out this homepage. It should give you information about your instructor, how to contact them, any class meetings, any of that information, and some tips on how to get started. Some of your classes will also have an introductory video to give you a sense of what the course is all about. Now, when you're in this homepage, it does give you a to-do list, but I can't say this enough. Don't just go straight to the assignments. You really want to see what those assignments are talking about. So I strongly recommend, rather than going into the assignments directly, you go into modules to access that course information. But before we get to modules, we're going to go down right here. We're going to click on Syllabus. In each one of your courses, I want you to go, at least at the start of term, into the syllabus to see what every assignment is worth. This is your contract with your professors, so all of the information you're going to need is right in here. There's also, conveniently in most courses, a breakdown about what everything's worth. So you can see that in this particular case, the discussions are worth 35% of your grade. So that's something you really want to focus on. But also realize that in some cases it may say exam. If there's just one exam, then it's worth that percentage. If it says exams, that could be a number of exams that are worth that percentage. There's also a course summary that breaks down all the different assignments that you have to do each week. But again, don't just go through here to access your assignments, because what did I say you need to go to? I want you going to modules. When you're in the modules area, and I'm going to click this on as view as student, so you see exactly what you'll be seeing. Within the module, you are going to see a number of different modules for you to look at. This first one you see gives you information about the college so that you're prepared. Once you've read this, if you want to collapse it, you can click this little down chevron and it'll collapse that information. You're also going to find at the top of many of your modules the textbook for the course. So if you see right here, we have e-textbook for this course. Unfortunately, right now, textbooks are located in a couple of different places. So if you're looking for your textbook, one place you should check right here is the e-textbook, which is in the modules. In other courses, and I'll pop to one of those courses, you are going to find e-text right here in the course navigation module. So that's going to take you to a different spot. Warning on textbooks. As you see, it says right here, Cengage technical support and a bunch of information. The first time you log into some of these textbook resources, you are going to have to register and sign in. This only should take about 2 minutes. Follow those instructions very clearly. And if you have any problems, you can reach out to us at the help desk, here at help or here at help, but make sure you've logged in early. Once you've done that, you'll also be able to access that textbook on a mobile app so that you can access your textbook wherever you go. But again, it's probably easiest to read a textbook on a computer screen. But remember, your textbook is either here at the beginning of the modules or over here to the side where it says textbook. one of those two spots will have a textbook. If your textbook is not in one of those locations, please reach out to your professor. Sometimes they accidentally moved it and they can move it back to the right location. Now that we're in modules, you've got your textbook open. Now you can go into the week's assignments. In this case, I said go to modules because your professors organize these modules very specifically. So I recommend you follow along with the order that these assignments are put in. For instance, in this class, I start with introduction and objectives. I do a couple quick Quizlets, and then we actually start into the video lecture. That video lecture gives you a chance to really dip your toes into what's going on in that class. Other professors might have written lectures. All of them are a little bit different, but you're going to start with, this is what we're talking about this week, and then we'll move on to the next assignment. How do you move on to the next thing in a module? I'm going to move myself here. Click the next button. The next button will take you right on to that next page. In this case, I have some Ed puzzles. And then there's other assignments that you can do. Do each assignment in order, and you're going to be in great shape. And again, scroll to the bottom and click on next to get to that next assignment, just like you're doing in here. When we start looking at discussions, it's going to be similar things. Again, always read instructions on what you're supposed to do. And then easily enough, scroll here and you can simply reply to that comment. I can't see it right now. It's not popping up. You can reply right here in discussion. Again, as long as you're going assignment by assignment, you're going to be in great shape. The last things I really kind of want to focus on now that you see how you're going through the modules. In some classes, you'll be able to go directly to discussion. Some classes you will have Zoom. There will be access to the library here in all of your courses so that you can easily get to the library. There's going to be future videos telling you what to do once you get there. There's the Center for Academic Success, or CAS. We have videos in this course showing you how to use the CAS as well. And we also do have a thing I skipped you in. What about grades? Well, grades, it's a little hard for me to show you because I'm a professor, not a student. But let me show you what your grades are going to look like as a student. I need to leave the student view to get over there. And so this is what you will see when you click on grades as a student. It's going to, you can arrange it by due date, you can arrange it by assignment group, module, whichever you want to do. But each one of these has little icons that you kind of have to understand so that you can know where to find all of your information. Each one has a clickable link to the assignment. So if you found an assignment and you hadn't done it, you could click right there and go to that assignment to complete it. In other cases, we have other information. This little icon will show you how you did in comparison to the rest of the class, which is interesting just to see where you're standing. This icon shows you your rubric, and it'll pop up so you can see a breakdown of exactly how you scored those various points. In this case, we can see that this student put a very good reply, a great reply, and then no reply. So in this case, the student could look in and see, uh-oh, it looks like I need to do 3 replies to students, so you can make that up in the next term. Now we can close our rubric. This will give you feedback from the professor. So this is where you can see the feedback that a professor says, and right here, you can click on that little icon and reply directly back to that professor so that you're actually discussing things right in there. Sorry, it bumped me out to a different way. One more thing you can actually see when you're looking at this is in some cases, you can get some actual feedback from a professor. And this is kind of buried, so I got to walk you through it. In this case, there's a comment here that says, make sure you click on the assignment to see the feedback. And you can click on that and click on View Feedback. And you can see that your professor annotated all of that information right in there. So you can see exactly what the professor is telling you to do. I know it's a little buried. This is mostly for your English classes, but make sure you keep that in mind. One other super fun thing is you get to pick what grade you want. No, you don't. You don't actually get to pick what grade you want. But what you can do is you can see, what if I did the assignment? So in this case, I can see I'm missing this assignment. I can click right here and say, well, what will my grade be if I submit it as 100? And look, all of a sudden I see my grade went from a 0 to a 50. This sounds like a lot of fun. How can I get 100 in this class? Well, apparently not that assignment. That only brought me up to a 66. But what you can start seeing is Say you realize that you missed an assignment and you're going, I've got a lot of things on my plate. Is there any chance that this could actually bring me up? You could actually go in and type in to see, will that assignment significantly change that grade? I just saw that that one brought me from a D to a C plus. That should help inspire you to make sure that you're doing more assignments. Once you've done that, you have to go, that's actually not my real score, and you revert and realize I actually have a 0. But these are just little tools that can really help guide you through your course. And I hope that this really helps you understand some of the tools there. If you need more information, we are always here to help. So remember, when you're in any courses or anywhere else, we've always got a help menu right here. As I showed you, right within the course, there's a help menu. Reach out to get those other bits of information. And always go back to that Be Ready course to help guide you through all the small details within a course. I hope this helps, and good luck with all of your courses.